Good evening, listeners, and welcome back to us at Red Moon Roleplaying. Tonight, from our side, it'll be me and Craig. Craig, how are you doing?
Good evening, Hjalmar. Good evening, everyone. It's me. I'm here.
I'm glad. Well, Craig, are you excited for tonight?
I'm very excited. I've got my cutlass at the ready.
And we've got some old friends and beloved colleagues. We have Matthew and Klara. Hello to the both of you.
Hello.
Lovely to be back.
It is.
It is so good to have you here again. And this time, because Matthew is cooking up a storm for us. What is the occasion?
Well, this occasion is we are releasing this game in conjunction with the Dead Man's Rust Kickstarter for Scarred Lands. Scarred Lands is a campaign setting for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. And Dead Man's Rust is a campaign that actually spans levels 1 through to 10 if you just follow the linear story, levels 1 through to 20 if you take on all the side quests too. So it's a mega campaign for D&D. And obviously we're not going to fit all of that in our actual play. We're going to take a segment of it and play through some of it with some of my own little twists and turns. And yeah, explore some of the Scarred Lands. It's been a while since we visited the Scarred Lands. Well, myself and, of course, Hjalmar and Craig as players and Klara as a writer. But we all have familiarity with it. And we're looking forward to... Well, I'm looking forward to running a game for all of you that will take you into the depths of the Hornsaw Forest.
Exciting. I'm super stoked about this, and I'm so happy that you came to join us as well, Klara. So have you been involved in Scarred Lands before as well, then?
Yeah, a little bit, not too much, and it's honestly been a long time ago now. So I feel like I'm starting from fresh almost. So yeah. I'm very excited.
I think that's a good thing, because a lot of our listeners might be fresh as well. I mean, there is obviously hardcore fans of this D&D hack, but we want to showcase how this world looks compared to the other sides of, Faerun and everything else.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of so many of the D&D campaign settings. Scarred Lands has been around now since, I think, the year 2000 or 2001. It was the first setting to release a monster manual for D&D, 3rd edition. Its creature collection came out before the monster manual did, way back when. So I think that's where most people got familiar with it. And yeah, it's persisted since then. It's in the last few months it's really sort of experienced a renaissance with the release of a creature collection for 5th edition, and we're hoping that the Kickstarter that's running through to just about the end of 2020 does well.
We do so too, and I'm sure it will. We've got good people at the reins of it, and I love how all the takes on the standard races are slightly shifted, as well as all the new fun races that have been introduced as well, due to how just the world has been affected by this old war of the gods and the titans.
Yeah, the clue is in the name, as they say. Scarred Lands is so named because the Titans' War, the divine war that raged between gods and titans within living memory, left the world scarred. There are torpid bodies of titans littering the place. It is lousy with injured and dying titans, some in many, many pieces, some at the bottoms of seas, turning the water literally into blood with their constantly leaking wounds. And in our case, it is a place that has been utterly blighted by the near destruction of a titan above it. The Scarred Lands is, I think, the only D&D setting where the environment is just about as hostile to you as any of the creatures living in it. It's a very real character that you have to face and traverse, and that's one of the things that I find appealing about, and hopefully the listeners will find interesting too.
I'm sure. Craig or Klara, do you have any technical questions before we hand this over completely to our beloved Game Master?
No, I'm ready to go, so yeah, Klara.
Can I have 1000 XP to begin with?
No, you're 8th level already. Count yourself lucky.
Okay. Well, then I have nothing. It's worth a try.
There we go. Okay then, Matthew, I think that's all.
Okay. We will be starting this game, this story, in medias res, as they say. Roll initiative. And for those of you who are unaware of how to roll initiative in Dungeons & Dragons, you simply roll a d20 and add your dexterity modifier.
I rolled a 1, which leaves me with 5.
I rolled a 9.
And I rolled 16. That gives me 19.
Lovely. So allow me to set the scene for you now that you have rolled initiative, and tell you why you are rolling initiative. You are deep in the Hornsaw Forest, a place mutated, blighted, afflicted with rot and horror. That's a mild way of putting it. The reasons for you being there we will soon evaluate, but for now your positions are thus. Shag-mane, the ironbred, played by Hjalmar, has his back to a thick, tall but rotting tree. He can feel the bark dropping off behind him as he presses against it, the vines from above resting on his shoulders and head. He is hiding from something. Cutter Var, our slitherin, that's a rat folk, rogue, a pirate in previous years, is ducked behind a mound of fetid earth and manure. The reek is deep inside his nostrils as he tries to evade the gaze of something terrible. Terfin, our hollow legionnaire, a soul bound to a suit of armour, and a paladin at that, is out in the open, glaive in hand, shards of light penetrating the thick treetops above to illuminate her and patches of the ground around her. She's trying to keep eyes on the Hornsaw unicorn padding around the clearing perimeter, while remaining crucially aware that another one is out there in the thick of the trees, pounding through the undergrowth. The three of you have got this far into the Hornsaw Forest. This is your first encounter with one of its infamous blighted unicorns, with a horn on its snout and head so large, so vicious, so capable of running a humanoid through with very little effort, that it has sent two of you ducking for cover and left the paladin out in the open. Due to initiative order, Terfin, you get to move first. I've described what you can see before you. I'll give you a little more detail. The Hornsaw unicorn is a rancid black and grey beast. It has fierce yellow eyes, mottled flesh, and the aforementioned viciously long horn protruding from its head. It's stomping the earth, snorting occasionally, and you don't know whether it's testing you. You don't know whether it's just seeing whether you make the first move. You are aware that your companions are currently hidden, hopefully for tactical reasons, and you're the only one within the unicorn's line of sight.
I think that I'm gonna make the unicorn do the first move here.
Mm-hmm.
I know better than to charge against a beast much stronger and bigger than me. So I'm gonna use this round to... Can I imbue my weapon with a sacred weapon?
You can. Tell us what the effect of that is according to your character sheet.
Well, for 1 minute the weapon is considered magical. You add 3+ to attack rolls. It emits bright light for 20 feet and dim light for 20 feet beyond that.
Very nice. Yes, you can. And which god does your paladin pray to for this? Or what? It maybe not even a god. What philosophy? What is the driving force behind Terfin, the Hollow Legionnaire?
Well, for her, it's purge all evil. Purge everything that poses a danger to what is good. And right now, she and her companions are good, and that beast over there is evil.
A radiant light does indeed come down from the heavens and course through your body, making your glaive glow with a radiant light, and likewise increasing its ability to cut through flesh. That is your action.
Yes.
Are you moving, or are you just holding your ground?
I'm holding my ground. There is no beast that scares me. I think.
It's bold of Terfin to think this way, as the Hornsaw lowers its head, lets out a snort, stomps the earth, and more like a bull than a horse, makes a charge towards you. And this is no small creature. It's slightly taller than yourself, in fact. Maybe not quite as tall as Shag-mane, if Shag-mane were bold enough to be out in this clearing with you, but sadly, he is not. It makes a charge directly at our paladin. In doing so, could I ask for our paladin's armor class, which it should also be on your character sheet?
20.
20. It lets out a disgusting belch, which you think in healthier days may have passed as a whinny, and as it tries to jam its razor-sharp horn straight through the plates of armour that are protecting your disembodied soul, it glances off. It doesn't penetrate. It steers to the side. You hear the screeching of the horn on metal, and literal sparks fly as you turn slightly, taking the blow pretty heavily, but taking no damage from it. You feel like it may have just angered the Hornsaw unicorn even more as it lets out a loud bray. It's actually still running, and it's now charging in the direction, quite incidentally, towards Cutter. And it's actually Cutter, hiding behind that fetid mound, who gets to act next.
As the beast charges towards me, is it still distracted enough, do I think, by the paladin that my attack is able to hit a weak spot?
Oh, almost definitely. You don't think the unicorn has spotted you yet?
Wonderful. In that case, I, having already taken out my short bow, which I had cocked and ready, aim it carefully, as best I can, and fire, hoping to hit it in its flank just before it actually starts charging towards me.
Nice. Okay, let's see how you manage.
The attack is a 17.
It is a 17, and the Hornsaw unicorn is unaware of your presence. Therefore, your arrow does hit home. Please make your damage roll.
Wonderful. In that case, I shall roll the damage and add my sneak attack bonus. 17.
17, okay, impressive. The arrow embeds itself in the left flank of the Hornsaw unicorn, and the blow makes it rear up on its hind legs, again spitting out a vicious noise. If it wasn't aware of you before, it certainly is now. Just as it was wheeling around to take on the paladin, it stops, landing back on its four hooves. It clomps, its head turns. One of its yellow eyes makes contact with one of yours, even as you just gently poke out from the top of the pile of manure.
As I see this, I duck back down. Can I attempt to use my bonus action to hide?
You can, although unless you're going to hide somewhere different, We'll have to see. Let's see how well you roll.
So, that would be a stealth check. 12.
You don't know. You just don't know if you have hidden successfully. You are fairly certain that neither your ears nor the fur atop your head is poking out over the top of that heap, but that doesn't mean the unicorn isn't aware of where you are. Unfortunately, it's a risk you're going to have to take. And that takes us to the next person in initiative order, which is Shag-mane. Shag-mane, currently your back, as I say, to a thick, tall tree. You were likewise remaining hidden, at least until the opportune moment. What are you doing?
I feel the heartbeat in my ears. It's so loud. I've never really been so close to one before. This is not far from where I've grown up and been, and I've heard so much about them. I've seen them from a distance. Grazing, I think, if that's what these ones do. But this close. No. And he just put an arrow in it. It's gonna be so angry now. I'm sure there's another one somewhere around here. I don't want to make myself known, but... well, Terfin is out in the open. I gotta do something. I start casting a spell. I cast Mass True Strike, bringing out my shawm, my preferred instrument, and I start playing on it, weaving the magic with the music to go out and influence my companions and aid their arms as they are risen against these foes.
And for those mechanically inclined, what is the benefit of your inspiring song?
It means that the two of you gain advantage on your next attack rolls.
An advantage, for anyone unaware, basically allows you to roll 2d20 and choose the highest.
That's right.
Sadly, while your tune does reach the ears of your two companions and they do indeed feel bolstered, this isn't the first time you have played a tune for them and roused their spirits during the course of a battle. Terfin's initial assessment was quite correct. There wasn't just a single Hornsaw unicorn. There was another one deep in the undergrowth, stomping, snorting, possibly making its way toward you. And as you strum, you see it. It's cautiously making its way through the woodland toward the clearing, clearly drawn to the noise.
I see it there. And it seems like it's of course going to see Terfin first. She needs to be ready. As a bonus action, I would like to use my bardic inspiration to further enchant this music that I started to play and give one inspiration die to Terfin.
By all means.
Very good. And that means that you can add 1d8, Klara, to an ability check, to your attack, or to a saving throw next time you like.
Wonderful.
Sadly, this isn't the only threat. As if an introduction would be so simple as just fight two Hornsaw unicorns. And the threat doesn't come against Terfin, who is currently quite boldly fending off that Hornsaw unicorn and about to become the centre of attention for a second. Nor does it come to Shag-mane, who stands beneath a tree, strumming away, trying to inspire his companions. No, as Cutter hides behind that mound, he feels tendrils and vines suddenly poking at him, looping around his arms and his waist. Something is reaching out from that rotting pile of mulch and trying to drag him in. Cutter, could you make a dexterity saving throw, please?
I shall, as I wince and have a moment of panic, but hopefully, being a very life member of the Slitherin, my advantage on this check will help, for I am a contortionist. So I shall roll the saving throw twice, if that is okay.
Yes, of course.
I shall take the 23.
Very impressive, Craig. With rat-like grace, unsurprisingly, you're able to slither your way out from the tightening vines without poking your head above the mound. The roll was so good. You essentially slip downwards and forwards as if each of the bones in your body turns liquid just for a split second. And whatever is in there, or whether it's the mound itself, loops and tightens around nothing. They drop limp on the ground and you can see them twitching, trying to grab at something, but you've rolled and slid just a little too far out of its reach.
And yet I still let out a moment of ugh, for that was way too close.
And that takes us back round to the top. And Terfin, your weapon is imbued. You feel inspired by the music you can hear from the forest. You have taken a blow and suffered no harm. What are you thinking, and what is your action?
Well, all of this has just led to Terfin feeling very confident and like her divine god is watching over her. She turns around towards the unicorn. Any unicorn that she can see, really. Can she only see one?
You can only see one, yes.
And she charges against it with her weapon in front of her, leading her way, almost like a beacon of light. A beacon of what she knows is good and what she knows is righteous. She is convinced that the beast needs to be slain, and thus she runs against it with no fear in her heart. Maybe it's because of what she is, just an energy within an armor, or maybe it's because her god really is watching over her, giving her all the confidence she needs to pursue this battle.
Very nice. So tell me, as the unicorn wheels around and it doesn't appear to be turning on you, you think it's about to go charging toward that mound that Cutter is hiding behind. Are you going to just charge, run it through, hack into its back?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, try to go for where she believes its vitals is, the vital organs. Perhaps go in from the side a little bit.
Okay, so you're going to try and rip down its side with your glaive.
Yes.
It's the right weapon to do something like that with. So please, could you make an attack roll? Bearing in mind you've got an advantage to your attack, so that means you can roll twice and take the higher figure.
I feel very inspired.
Yes, you feel very inspired, and you have divine grace on your weapon.
Okay.
So keep all of that in mind.
I rolled 22.
You bring your glaive up into the abdomen of this creature and try and saw across its thick skin, trying to do it some kind of lethal wound with one blow. And let's see how well you do at that. Your damage is 1d10 plus 3.
Well, I rolled a 13.
Very nice. Excellent. It's a crippling blow to the Hornsaw unicorn. as with the arrow already buried in its hind quarters, and now a glaive running through its soft underbelly. These so-called fierce creatures are clearly nothing to be scared of. You were quite correct when you said that no beast could instill fear in you, because as you drive your glaive into its abdomen, its insides pour out, a rancid stench filling the air. The Hornsaw lets out a pitiful and pained cry as it crumps to the side, its legs collapsing underneath it. Your victory isn't long-lasting, however, as drawn to the action, drawn to everything going on, comes the second Hornsaw unicorn that was out in the thick of the undergrowth while you were making your attack. And maybe the Hornsaw that you've just taken down is a mate. Maybe they're part of the same herd. You don't know. But this Hornsaw does appear to have taken it personally. This one's a grey-brown equine marked with scars from head to tail, its horn jagged and barbed. And much as its compatriot did earlier, it lowers its head and with a guttural belch charges directly at the already acting paladin. Your armor class is 20, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
It rams you. It rams into your side with its serrated horn, and it cuts you. It's been a long time since you've felt true pain. It's been a long, long time since you felt something pierce your soul, not just the armor surrounding it. It's as if the horns of these creatures are magical all on their own, and it does indeed cut through what constitutes the ectoplasm that forms your body, inflicting upon you 18 points of damage. So it punctures your soul nastily, leaving a dirty great rent through the side, and pushes you back as it does so.
I don't cry out. It's almost as if when I feel the pain, I feel alive again. As if there is a short flashback when I'm hurt, a flashback to the life that I left behind that I cannot remember, but sometimes comes back in little short flashbacks reminding me of what I once was. I stumble. I'm surprised. I'm not happy about the situation. But it's almost as if that pain renews my energy. As if I'm reminded why these creatures need to die.
Wonderful. And that takes us to Cutter again. Cutter, who has been saved a nasty impaling by Terfin's valour, or at least brutality. And Cutter, who has also just evaded the assassin vines trying to pull him to his death. What are you doing now, Ratman?
My balance is a little off after having literally just contorted away from whatever was on the forest floor. Standing up from there, keen to not stay there much longer, I notice this second beast suddenly charge out of nowhere, and I do my best to fire on it with my short bow with advantage, rolling a 10.
A 10 is your highest.
Yes.
Knock your arrow, let it shoot, and no, it flies wide past the Hornsaw unicorn that doesn't even notice it's under attack.
Ugh. With that, I assess the battlefield quickly, using my bonus action this time to dash, giving me 80 feet of speed. I'm going to try and just move behind the paladin, hoping to reposition myself and be somewhere slightly safe.
So you enter the clearing, but you're essentially fighting back to back with the paladin.
More like... let's think. More like I dart behind the paladin so that the beast is not near me, but I still can see it to get ready another short bow attack.
Ah, I see. So you wish to maintain range but not be in the same location. That's absolutely fine. So you do so. With your speed cutter, you are able to just dash through the undergrowth without so much as breaking a branch. You move fast, you move stealthily, you find another thicket to hide behind, quickly assessing it and making sure it's not going to try and eat your face like the last one. And yeah, this may be another skilled vantage point from which to take out this new opponent. Which takes us to Shag-mane.
Yes. I see that nasty impalement that just happened. And without thinking, I just touch my own chest where that would have hurt. Realizing this, I flick away my golden hair and I realize that I need to come to the aid of Terfin somehow. Only by having known where Cutter Var was hiding before do I see the faint rustle as he dashes through the undergrowth. Am I far away from him now?
He's actually moved closer to you than before.
Can I, during this turn, use my move action to get up to him?
Yes, definitely.
Alright. Moving quite skillfully, smoothly, though, of course, nothing moves like a slitherin. I suddenly appear next to you, Cutter Var. And I don't say anything because there's no time. Instead, I form the gestures and chant a song as I touch the next arrow that you're about to knock, and I cast the spell Multiply Missile on it. And I cast it using a level 3 spell slot. And that means that you will be able to roll 4 damage dice the next time you shoot, if you shoot that arrow.
Well, that could be the deciding factor, but we shall see.
May I also use my bonus action?
Absolutely.
To cast the spell Healing Word, to try through my music, through the air, to send healing energies towards Terfin, and cast that on as a second level spell slot as well.
Please do.
Alright. And you will regain 3d4 plus 2 hit points.
Okay.
I'll leave that to Klara. And can you tell me, for Shag-mane, our ironbred bard, what kind of song is he singing? Is it mournful? Is it rousing? What kind of music does he play when he wishes to convey some kind of healing enchantment?
Yes, it is quite mournful, a morose song, reflecting kind of the setting that he has always known. It's this calming, soothing song of slow and painful death.
It's strange to the ears of Terfin and Cutter Var, who, of course, have been accompanying this bard now for the best part of 2 weeks. You've heard a number of different refrains, different melodies from him, and he's clearly quite talented. You've never heard of an ironbred bard before, a horse folk who can work a musical instrument like the best gnome, halfling, elf, or human, and yet you've never heard the same song twice. And this one, there's no break in the melody from the inspiring song that he was playing before that invigorated you for battle. It just shifts a decibel or two, and all of a sudden it's now a dirge, this morose, almost funerary hymn. But it is sufficient to heal some of the harm that's befallen our hollow legionnaire. Have you calculated how much damage was healed, Klara?
Yes, I actually healed 12 damage.
12. Oh, wonderful.
And that sorrowful song only helps the paladin to snap back from that flashback she just had. She is reminded that although there is goodness in the world, there's also bad, there's also darkness, there's evil. And she's reminded of her quest and what she was created to do. She's reminded that although she once was something else, and she never truly will know what that was, she's something new now. And she's something that must protect what is good and must destroy what is evil. And that sorrowful song only reminds her of that. So she readies her glaive and turns around against her attacker and charges with all the might she has against her next foe.
Excellent. Roll to attack then, please, Klara.
Yes.
It takes some spine to charge a Hornsaw unicorn. And yeah, that's what you do. And what do you roll?
I roll a 12.
A 12. A 12 is not sufficient in this case. While you are still, however, you do still have the effect of the bardic inspiration.
Yes. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Let's see here. Ooh, 16.
16. You bring the glaive down with heroism, with all the fortitude you can muster, with that renewed sense of vigour that's inside you, and you bring it down on the hard back of the Hornsaw unicorn as you charge and chop, and it doesn't penetrate what should be rotten flesh that should fall off the bone. It just connects and thuds, and the Hornsaw just snarls at you in a way that you didn't even know horses could. But of course this is no normal horse. You're now in very close quarters with this creature. And being in close quarters with you, it rears and tries to pound you with its front hooves. It's a clash between titans, in fact, as you stand there and you take the hooves clean on the chest, but again, the thundering pounding of this creature's blow does not damage your soul. It clangs against your armour, and yet you remain solid. You barely move, the two of you eyeing each other up. What was once maybe a human woman against what was once a noble unicorn, locked together, potentially prepared to take each other down, unless Cutter Var gets there first.
Well, seeing the bard come to my side and lay his hands upon my short bow normally would get me slightly anxious, but in this case, totally fine as I see the arrows glow with some sort of magical spell. I grin slightly, my mismatched teeth on show, as I get ready to fire my short bow, rolling a 9. However, I will also, as I believe a bonus action, activate my magical green crescent moon tattoo that was placed upon me by the very bard himself. Once activated, that gives me a d8 to add to this roll, which is 6, so my total roll is 9. 15.
On a roll of 15, even with the enchantments of the bard at your side, and even with the possibility of firing off 3 arrows at once into this target, it's wasted. Whether it's the oppressive heat of this forest right now, or whether it's the tiredness of having waded through so much hostile terrain over the last couple of weeks, you don't know. Whatever it is, no matter how hard you concentrate, it's not enough. Your paw shakes just briefly, and the arrows fly wide again. You feel ashamed This is your companion. You've not known her for a long time, but up until now you've all worked together so effectively, so efficiently. And now she's locked in mortal combat with this Hornsaw. Not one of your arrows hit the target. Which takes us to Shag-mane.
And as I see the arrow fly through the air, splitting into 5 versions of itself, somehow all of them going wide, one of them almost snagging Terfin, I start to sweat, or I notice that I am already sweating heavily, and I feel like I haven't pushed my magic like this ever before. I need them to finish it now. I could go in to fight this thing, but I'd much rather stay away from this distance. I observe every movement, every bit of the dance. It all becomes part of the inspiration that I hope to use to write songs about this, but that's based on that I make it out alive. I push the welds and weaves even harder. I sing with fierce conviction. It's almost as a religious chant. It's something that I didn't know that I had within me. I once again cast Multiply Missile, but this time on the 4th level, meaning that if my friend only hits, he will be able to roll that damage dice 5 extra times. Make it so, make it that he does. And to try and help that even further, I'm going to use the last bit of efforts of bardic inspiration that I have to give him a 1d8 for his next attack roll as well, for the next 10 minutes.
The strength of your music, the refrain that cuts through the air and reaches your companion's ears, after all, he's not too far away from you, is empowering. This could turn the tide. We will have to see as we enter our final round of combat. Terfin, you are there, locked in melee with this Hornsaw. Are you going to stab at it again, chop at it again?
Yes, I'm gonna stab at it again. I want this creature to die. It is now imposing such a risk that I will use everything that I have to see that beast dead.
Then do so.
I feel the support from the members of my group, from my friends, and it is such an inspiration for me that I again strike the beast with no fear. No fear of being attacked again, no fear of its hooves, no fear of its horn, no fear of the beast itself. I know that it must die.
Make your roll then, Klara. Make it good.
I roll a 26 to hit.
It's a good hit. Where are you striking it with your glaive?
I'm striking... Well, where am I positioned right now?
Right now, you are head on head. You are like 5 feet away from it, and you are facing it down.
Is it at any point standing on its hind legs?
No, you think it's about to back up a little, lower its head, and then just charge forward, springing forth, essentially. It's looking ready to pound earth with its front legs, so I suppose it would lift up briefly, yeah. If you time it precisely, yes, you can get underneath it.
That's what I want to do. I want to, as it lifts its front legs, I want to stab it from beneath.
essentially passing your glaive from 2 hands to 1 and just reaching out, full arm's length, trying to cut its insides out. Let's see how much damage you do.
Ooh, I do 18 damage.
The glaive wickedly cuts through the undercarriage of the Hornsaw, and you feel it split skin and gristle and sinew. You don't think it's going to be enough to kill the creature, as the glaive lodges somewhere in its rib cage, and then you extract it, and you can see that your glaive is now glistening with red and dark green, maybe a mix of blood and pus. You're not sure, whatever constitutes the viscous liquids inside this creature, but you've definitely dealt a blow, and it looks very unhappy for that. So much so that it carries out its threat and tries to barrel you over, ideally impaling you, and if not, at least taking you off your feet. It charges forward. It can't charge far because it's so close to you, so it gains no advantage for doing so. But it will have its attack. And it does hit. And it's a nasty blow, as the serrated horn of this barbed and mottled hornsaw jams you straight in the abdomen, cutting straight through. If you still had working internal organs, it would cut straight through, you think, your intestines and reach your spine. And for a few feet there, you are carried back on its horn, on its weight. You are literally taken off of the ground briefly before it flings you forward and you go crashing to the ground. It has a look on its face that says, "I am victorious," as you are dealt 20 hit points worth of damage. You can see the way this fight might be going, Cutter, and you know how much pressure is currently on you with the bardic spell.
Indeed. And that's why I grit my teeth, close one eye, and swear very loudly, "Overgrown horse!" and roll a 30, combining the bardic inspiration with the normal attack.
That's a stunning blow, especially to hit it with how many arrows?
Apparently 5 extra.
So 6 arrows. Make your damage rolls, please, Craig.
So 66.
Yeah, as Cutter lets fly 6 arrows, 5 of which are magical, fires them up into the air, and down they sing, each of them emitting their own little fragment of a tune, given that they have been created by a bard's magic, flying dead on toward the Hornsaw that is currently advancing over the prone body of your paladin companion.
And on 6d6 plus 2, I roll 29.
Thud, 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 as each arrow connects, peppering it. The magical arrows just disappear. You can see the wounds as they ooze and bubble. Only 1 arrow remains in the horse's body. The unicorn rears. It snarls, it snorts. It's looking around. And then, poof, it bursts away into the brush. It's taken enough. It's not fighting this fight to the death. You hear the sounds of crashing through the undergrowth fading, dissipating. You don't know whether you might see this creature again, for it's clearly gained a taste for you, but for now, the 3 of you are safe.
I started running out and over to Terfin to help her up. I reach out an arm. Terfin, are you alright?
I grab your arm and help myself up. No, I'm not alright. We let we let evil get away, and it can harm someone else. Someone that is more pure than we are. If I were not as harmed as I am, which is a disgrace, I would run after it, but I grab my side or the hole that has been penetrated through my armor. I have failed.
I walk around you and I see the armor is pierced straight through where the horn has gone in. It's fascinating. I mean, there's plenty of hollow legionnaires from where I come from, but it never ceases to amaze me how this is actually a wound. I start singing some soft, humming, healing verses, and I will restore another 2d4 plus 2 hit points to you.
The soothing song from the bard. It's as if the words are a balm that pours from Shag-mane's mouth, and as if through an ethereal tube makes its way straight toward the wound, like every word is a salve or a dose of some healing ointment. It's not going to patch the entire thing up, but I'm sure it will help to some degree. Klara, how much did it heal?
It heals 10. What would I do without you, Shag-mane? Your healing words are always soothing.
Well, if it's any comfort, you've just given me plenty of material to write a new song on. Listen, if you're dead set on chasing this one down, I point at the ground where the pus and the blood has formed a trail into the forest.
It can't be far. What do you say? I look at the both of you.
I quickly scurry over, stowing my short bow back on my back and taking a moment to adjust one of the many little scarves that I wear on my person, mainly black and grey and yellow. Whatever you want, paladin. Besides, you're being so gloomy. Come on, we killed one. You killed one of them and wounded another one, and there's hundreds of them, so you've already started.
Well, a wound is not gonna kill evil, is it? We must protect what is good. I must protect what is good. We have to find it. I start charging through the forest where trees and bushes have been pushed to the side by the massive beast.
Everything until now had been going so well. The Hollow Legionnaire Ravana had given you the simple mission, it seemed simple anyhow, of tracking the whereabouts of 2 lost squads of legionnaires, last known to have been in talks with the elven Reed clan of the Hornsaw Forest. It seemed like an easy enough task, with an ample reward. How hard could it be to find a dozen armoured and well-armed souls bound to armour in a forest, and, most importantly, earn the Centurion's favour and over 100 gold pieces each for bringing his squads back home. And so that's why you set forth into the Hornsaw Forest at the height of summer. Once upon a time, the Hornsaw was just another part of the Broadreach, verdant, lush, and vibrant. Ever since the Titan, the mother of serpents, the queen of witches, the hag's wife, Mormo, was ripped asunder above and within this part of the Broadreach, within the Divine War, the forest became the Hornsaw. Her blood twisted it. The earth turned. The creatures within fell to corruption and blight. Necromancers from the morbid city of Glivid Ordell moved in to recruit monsters, breed aberrations, and harvest components. In short, the Hornsaw Forest became a rank pit of misery, with small pockets of light throughout. Sadly, you're not in one of those pockets of light right now. Having spent the last week wading deeper and deeper into the Hornsaw Forest, cutting through the occasional carnivorous plant-mutated goblinoid or ducking the blood-sucking birds in these parts, you've now slain one Hornsaw unicorn and wounded another, but you know that the end is far from in sight. The good news, in theory, is according to the unreliable map you've been given, the Reed clan are but a couple of hours away from your current location. Respite may be close, if you can but soldier forward. But right now, Terfin's mind is not on soldiering forward, isn't on meeting up with the Reed clan and finding out about these lost Hollow Legionnaires. It's about killing the Hornsaw unicorn that very nearly killed her. Terfin. It wasn't so long ago, less than a year, a mere handful of months, that you were back at the Mithril Spire. You had been trained, like many other Hollow Legionnaires, in the arts of war. You, as an entity, were born fully sentient. After all, you weren't born as much as summoned and bound. You already had some capability based on your previous existence, but that, for the sake of rationalization, is muscle memory. You have no real memory of what you were before you died, before you were bound, and certainly no one at the Mithril Spire was telling if they knew. And you excelled in your training as a paladin, almost as if it was second nature, and maybe it was. But during all that time, during all that worship, all the drilling and practicing with your glaive, the weapon that you chose as your favoured, you felt that anxiety for wanderlust. You felt the pull to explore more than your surroundings and be more than just a guardian and member of a legion. You wanted to adventure, to explore, to see some of the danger that was out there. And so, when Mur, a centurion at the Mithril Spire, came to you, sat down with you after drill practice, you were both sat on a stone bench, looking out over the training field as other Hollow Legionnaires practiced with their weapons. She asked you, I see that look in your eye, Terfin. I see that look in the eyes of so few Hollow Legionnaires, but I see it in yours often. There is something you want more than what we have to offer, isn't there?
Would it be a shame to say yes?
No shame at all, for honesty is the highest principle. You worship a god, do you not?
Well, I do, yes.
And do you seek to embody the god, to please the god, to do the god proud?
Of course. That is my existence, aside from serving, well, this, the Order of Mithril, what I've become. What else is there to exist for?
Well, that is a question we, Hollow, must ask ourselves. If we do not ask ourselves, we are naught but automata, and one must hope that one is more than that. And so you are drawn to have more, I can see that, and you admit to it. I know that what you seek cannot be attained here at the spire, or probably at any of the other 4 spires. While there is much you could learn, I don't think learning is what you want either. What is it that you wish to achieve, Terfin?
Evil is everywhere. Not only here at the spires, it's everywhere. It lurks in the darkness. It steals what is good and destroys purity. It takes and gives nothing. Evil is within every man, and some beasts are embodied by it. Evil must be destroyed. Evil must be purged. My goal is to seek the evil, hunt it down, remove it, leave what is good, leave what is meant to be, and what is meant to be is compassion, duty, honor and mercy, valor, everything that makes the world grow.
And would it surprise you, Terfin, if I were to say that maybe you were once a being of evil, that maybe in your previous life that you were drawn to commit evil acts, that you were a merciless killer of babes, or that you were someone who took great joy in blighting the land or constructing aberrations? Would that surprise you? Or do you think that on some level you are trying to atone for sins that you cannot even recall?
If that is indeed the truth, don't let me know of it. I know what I am now. And if I was evil, I do not wish to know.
It is not something that I could ever know, Terfin. I am merely posing a question to you because you have the tenacity and the desire of a chirurgeon. You wish to go out into the world and cut out all of the evil where you find it, leaving nothing but good. But in many places, evil is a constant. It cannot be just simply purged, and we hope that we will never see it again. Evil will always exist. In some cases, the question is finding a balance where evil can be contained or mollified or be given its own place to torment where good people will not be harmed.
There is evil, and then there is good. There's black, there's white, there's light, there's darkness. There is no in between. Darkness can be purged. Darkness can be lit up. We can figure out what is inside the darkness and remove it. That is my sole purpose. Evil and good cannot harmonize. They cannot exist in the same body. I do not believe in that.
Well, Terfin, no one here is going to stop your departure, and in fact many of us are going to be glad for the opportunity that you will gain. All I would advise you, after our many years of training together, working together to make our immediate surroundings better, is always keep context in mind. Always keep the bigger picture in mind, Terfin. Right now it seems like everything is black and white, but one day you may be faced with a puzzle that cannot just be cut. It may just have to be solved. And solving a puzzle will probably take more than a swing of your glaive.
Thank you.
The attendants have already seen to packing your belongings. You can say your goodbyes and be gone on the morrow.
I wish you all the luck. May the gods protect you.
And may the gods protect you. All fortune and grace before you. And am I correct, having been shown the maps that you have been collecting, you were intending on heading toward Leone and later the Broadreach?
Correct, yes.
It is not that we have been spying on you, although I suppose to a degree it is. Just be careful, Terfin. Your aims are true and glorious, but there is, and I mean no insult when I say it, a streak of naivete about you, and I would hate for that to be your downfall.
I shall try not to take that as an insult. I wish you all the best.
And you as well. Terfin, you are stalking with intent through the woods. And that memory that you just had, fleeting as it is, hits you like a blow to the chest.
I reconsider for a moment if what I'm doing is indeed what is best in this situation. I feel as if that voice in my head telling me to keep focus on the broader picture, keep focus on the lost men that I was set out to find. I stop for a second to think. Inside of me there is a battle of my own personality, who I've become, what I believe is the right thing to do, and my duty, and my respect for the people that created me. But somehow, I don't know if it's the pain that the creature inflicted upon me. I don't know if it's the pain that it potentially could have inflicted upon my friends. Somehow, that inner need to find and kill the creature is just a little bit stronger than the need to fulfill my duty. So I continue on.
And you go crashing through the brush. And I assume your two companions are following.
I mutter a little under my breath. Titan's blood. I look to Shag-mane. Can't you use your fancy words, convince her that walking off into the brush round here, we might fight another, 20 oversized bastards.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be able to sway her. She seems pretty convinced, I say, and I try to brush away the golden dyed mane from my face, revealing a few more tattoos that are meandering down my forehead. No, let's it can't be far. Let's just help her do this, all right?
Yeah, I do my best to assess the situation, feeling a little anxious. I have ever since we came to this forest. So many giant wooden tree things all over the place. It's not natural.
Yeah, as the quiet and the pulse settles, I once again become aware of all the strange noises that I am used to, but anything. They can mean anything in here. And I just motion for Cutter to start moving. I like having Cutter moving in front of me. The way he slithers, it's kind of enticing.
The two of you beat a hasty pace to try and keep up with your clearly intent hollow legionnaire companion. Could I have a wisdom roll from you, Klara? If you have the survival skill, you can use that to augment it.
I do. I roll a 15.
15. You're keeping to the trail. The track isn't terribly difficult to find given the injury that the Hornsaw unicorn had taken. Likewise, you are growing increasingly familiar with this terrain. But you are not acting with caution. Nevertheless, with your wisdom and your survival skills as they are, you stop short of putting your foot deeper than your heel in a bog.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played Dead Man's Rust for Scarred Lands and 5e, which is published by our friends at Onyx Path Publishing and is on Kickstarter right now. Our game master was the Gentleman Gamer Matthew Dawkins, and Craig and Hjalmar were joined by our dear friend Klara Herbøl. The music was created by Ager Sonus and Hagberg and was used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more music for your games. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia and David Hagberg for their generous support. And we would of course like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cultivated Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you for listening, and see you soon again.